Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Out in the woods, talking about bags, life doesn't get any better. Hashtag facts. Anyway, so what we're here today to look at is a bag that I've had a while now and have been able to test out, and like with a lot of Topo design products, I like the aesthetics, but luckily it's not all style, there is a lot of substance there. So what we are here to have a look at today is the Topo Designs Mountain Hydro Hip Pack. I'm just going to call it the Mountain Hydro from now on, just because it's a little bit of a long title. But yes, full title is Mountain Hydro Hip Pack. Now, when I mentioned just about aesthetics, it's rare. A lot of the bags that I look at generally are kind of rugged outdoor military style bags, and certainly there's definitely a rugged nature to this, but it's rare that I get to talk about aesthetics, and it's nice to talk about aesthetics. One of the things that I like about Topo Designs is specifically the look and feel to them. Generally the colours that they use so this is available in several different colours, but they all have this kind of retro 1970s, 1980s look and feel to them, which takes me back to being a youngster, going out walking with my dad, going out walking with my granddad, and the bags that they used to carry and the colours of them. So yeah, that's one of the things that I certainly have an appeal with Topo Designs. Now, all of the materials that they use, rather than those old school fashion materials, all of the materials on here are modern, excellent materials. In fact, the zippers on here, these are huge. Number 10 YKK zips, and there's a mix of them. So you have the RC ones here that they've stitched in normally, but then you have the reverse stitch ones here at the top, which I think is really nice. So you've got two types of webbing on here. You have the kind of the regular webbing that you find on most bags, but then the webbing that's used on the strap here is more of a seatbelt style webbing, which I think is really nice. The main material that this is made from now, so this is a lot lighter than other bags. Recently looked at the Topo Designs Mini Quick Pack that's made with a 420D recycled nylon. Instead, this uses a 210D recycled nylon. It's also a ripstop material, so it helps to reduce down some of the weight. The total volume for this is about, I think it's about 4.5 litres, 4.5 litres. So you can fit a little bit more into this. So being able to reduce some of the weight in the materials certainly helps with that. As far as the other kind of bits on here, the hardware and the plastics on here, these are Woojin plastics, which again, I know some people are like, oh no, it's got to be ITW Nexus, it's got to be, I know, Duraflex. I really like Woojin buckles. I know a lot of manufacturers are starting to use Woojin buckles now, and they do an exceptionally good job. The only other thing maybe, so you got some 550 paracord that they use for pulls, and then you have a few different bungee cables on here. You've got two at the side here, and then you've got one on the front. Now, when I mentioned the capacity, so it's about 4.5 litres, I think it's 4.5 litres, I put the exact amount here, but as far as your measurements are concerned, it comes in at 270 millimetres by 170 millimetres by 70 millimetres deep. So there's a good space, there's a good amount that you can put in here. When you're wearing it as a crossbody bag, it fits perfectly on the front here, through the side. As it is a waist pack, especially on the bottom of your bag here, it also fits really well as well. Now, to help with some of the cushioning, especially in your lower back, there is also some neoprene padding here on the back, which is also really nice. That was another material that's on here. Now, as far as the features are concerned on this, so as usual, let's start at the bottom. I do like the fact that they have some lashing points on here. So rather than just being a static point that you can lash something onto, because not everybody has some spare paracord or whatever it is, you do have these pass-throughs. So if you want to put something through here, whether it's a sitting mat, whether you want to put some additional hydration through there, maybe even if you want to, maybe you've got a jacket that you've took off or a shirt that you've took off because it's warm or cold for whatever reason, you can pass this through here. Now, these are reasonably large as well. So if you are concerned that you're not going to be able to put a jacket through here, don't worry about that. I've had this through here, I've got a couple of packable ones through there as well, and they all fit in fine. Now of course, if it's the winter and you want to put in some massive jacket, then you know, you've got to be reasonable with your expectations. I'm talking about smaller, lighter, packable jackets that you can fit through there. But I like the fact that they've got these added. Sorry, I had a strange hiccup then. Now on the front, there's a bit of, I will say on this, there's a bit going on. There definitely is. I think I like the fact that they added this, but they could have stitched this into the top and the bottom here, just so that it didn't kind of bring as much attention to it. But still, it's great. So if you did want, again, you want to pass something through there, you can do. You do have some daisy-chained webbing here, so that again you can clip things to that again if you like as well. There's a two-tone effect through here, but what it does is also highlight the Topo design logo on the front. Now as far as compartments is concerned, I'm going to class this as a one compartment style bag. There is a secondary pocket on here, but mainly it is the main compartment. Actually, there was two bits that I forgot to mention before we got onto those. So the reason that this is called the Hydro, or at least the Hydro that's in the name, so on the left and on the right here, you do have some pockets specifically so that you can put small things into here, like here is a regular Coca-Cola can. And as all mountain men should do, they should all leave home with a bottle of iron brew to keep you hydrated and to fill you full of girders. But yes, so you have two expandable pockets here, and when they're not being used, you can use the bungee cord on this side to pull it in, and you can use the bungee cord on this side to pull it in as well. As far as your bottles are concerned, the two that I've shown you there fit in perfectly. You know, the wider, is it the 750 milliliter Evian bottles, you know, the ones that are kind of quite bulbous at the bottom, they will fit in here as well, no issues whatsoever. If you're after some of the kind of the 750 clean canteen ones, because they're a little bit taller, a little bit thinner, they will fit in. The 1 litre Nalgene ones, you have to take everything out that's inside, force them in, and then you can put your stuff back in, mainly because of how wide they are at the bottom. But some of the smaller ones, the 750 milliliter ones, I've certainly not had any of the bottles that I have not been able to fit into these. I do like the fact that they've got the bungee cord system on here. I always find it strange when manufacturers make it without this, just how simply it is to be able to just kind of, you know, batten these down on the side. With the, you also have a compression strap here, so when you've got this on, because of some of the thinner bottles, once it's in there, you can pull the bungee cord to close the top, and then pull on this compression strap here, and what that will do is it'll just make sure that it's cinched into place as well. Now, back to the featured content of the main compartment. So the main compartment uses pretty much that full 270mm, 170mm by 70mm. This is pretty much your full, well actually let's say, well yeah, it is pretty much, it's your full 4.5 litres. So in the front here, this will open up. I have a stowaway pack, which I take around with me a lot. I can also fit in here a sitting mat, which is also pretty useful. And just in case you were wondering, yes, it is also tactical teddy bear compliant. On the inside, you also have, and I know for some of my regulars, when we had a look at the previous Topo designs, some of you weren't happy that there was no high-vis on the inside. Check out this bad boy. This one does have your high-vis on the inside. All of the stitching on the inside, immaculate. All of the hardware areas have reinforcement on here, which is really nice. And then you also have a key stay as well. I will say the same with this key stay. If they could have just made it an extra, say, 2 inches longer, then it would mean that you wouldn't always have to take it off if you wanted to be able to get something with it. I know there's a slight balance, and some people are like, actually it's fine, so maybe it's more of me that would prefer it like that. But as far as things that I would change about this, it's very little. It maybe is only that. They might have been able to use this front area a little bit better as well. I think if they'd have added an extra maybe pocket in here, I think that would have been good. But again, I'm just picking faults where really there aren't any faults. But as far as organisation within this main panel, there really isn't any organisation. It's just a large pocket for you to be able to put your stuff into. No hook and loop in there. I know some of you might be asking if there's hook and loop if you are out in the mountains in an area where you might need to get something to protect you from certain wildlife. There's no hook and loop in there, but it is what it is. So I did mention that there was another pocket on this. So this is the pocket within the main body, and that is here. I'm going to say it's on the back, but really it's on the top here. So there is a secondary zip that gets you access to another high-vis lined pocket. So in here I have my mobile phone. It fits in with absolutely no issues whatsoever. The pocket at the back goes all the way from this seam to this seam here, so it's that full 270 millimeters by 170 millimeters. But I mean, as far as the kind of the volume in here, it's just a very slim slip pocket for you to be able to put valuables and maybe your phone, or you might even be able to fit a small map into here as well. Now, as far as additional pockets, there are, well, I suppose there's one additional pocket and a kind of pocket. So coming onto the actual strap or the belt itself, so let's call this the right hand side. So there is a belt pocket here, great for putting in your keys. You could put in a small compass in here. If you get dry lips, you could put a little chapstick into here. It is also high-vis lined as well, which is also really nice. But just be able to get that, so when it's on like this would be on my left hip. Whereas on the other side, you have one of these small pass-throughs. These are useful for kind of those tertiary items. The way that I've been using this is when I'm out walking with the dog, if I take the dog off the lead and allow him to go running around, and Norman does all the stupid things that Norman likes to do, the lead that I have, it's not one of those extendable leads. I made it out of an old piece of climbing rope, so I can fold that over a few times, pass it through here, just keep walking. It's on my hip. When I need to shout Norman, I can take it out. It's those small kind of little things. Reminds me of, you know, like when you get to the gym, you have those gym shorts that have a little pass through, so you can pass your towel through it. Maybe if you're walking in an area that's high in humidity and you want to pass a small towel through here, you could do that as well. But again, so it's just like a little small pass through so that you can put stuff onto there. Then we get down onto the actual belt itself, and the belt uses, this is 1.5 inch webbing, I believe. I will double check and I'll leave it down here. It's either 1.5, I think it's 1.5. You got your Woojin buckle at the front, and you also have one of these. So when this is on, here on the right hand side, you have an extra D-loop. So if you pull this, it releases the tension. So while it's on, if I pull this, it means that you can take it off a lot quicker without having to undo the buckle. If there was another thing that I would change, so that the way that they do this is, I'm guessing they must put these buckles on and then stitch this end so that it doesn't come undone. If you're a right-hander, that's perfect, because it feels so weird putting it on right-handed. It's here so that I can pull this with my right hand and it loosens it. Now, I'm not left-handed. I was dropped way too many times as a child, which has kind of damaged my brain, but I wear it left-handed, so I have to kind of pull it up, which feels weird. If they could just make it so that you could, they just don't have to roll this over as much at the end here. If you rolled it over one less time, it would be easier to be able to get it out of here. I can't get it out of here to be able to move this from here to here, which is what I would really like to do. So as a quasi left-hander, I could do that. I mean, as far as first world problems go, that's peak first world dilemma kind of thing. I mean, it is what it is. There you go. But other than that, you know, it's wearing it crossbody like this, it's fine. I can bring it round, get into the bits that I need. Now I have been wearing this on my hip more, which I quite like. It's very, I don't know, just reminds me of the good old 1990s, walking around with a hip pack on. My daughters hate it, absolutely hate it, which makes me want to do it more. But as a hip pack, just here at the bottom of my back, it works perfectly. Bringing this round to the front, as I mentioned, when I'm out walking the dog, I have it on this side actually, so I can keep my car keys here, but then I can have this little pass-through pocket here. I can have with his lead on there, walk around, do what I need to do. And yeah, it's all good. Plus, with the width of this being ever so much slightly wider than some of those kind of traditional fanny packs, you can then also get, I said fanny pack then, didn't I? I said fanny pack, I meant bum bag. Fanny in the UK means vagina. Anyway, I can get through to where my water is, and yeah, really good. Oh, an extra ad, because I know I harp on it about this quite a bit. And I think if Topo Designs were to update this on some of their other packs, it would make them easier for crossbody carry as well. But when you look at this, the geometry of where the straps come out, the straps come out in line with the top. So when you've got a lot in here, now at the moment there isn't much in here, but it's only wanting to roll or twist forward ever so slightly. Whereas some of the other ones, because it comes out through the center, they want to roll more. This has a more traditional geometry for what I'd consider a bum bag, which I think more of their packs need to. So this should be the framework, and this should be the geometry at which their straps should come out. All in all, it's another nice pack from Topo Designs. I know I mentioned at the beginning of this the look, the feel of them, the aesthetics, and what it reminds me of being a youngster out with my dad and my granddad whilst out walking in the moorlands in North Wales. But luckily, it's not just style, there is some substance to this. I think the materials that they've used, instead of going for those really tough materials, going for a lighter 210D recycled nylon, it still is nice and tough because you've got because it is a ripstop, but being able to reduce the weight down, I've certainly found that there are some benefits to that over some of those really tough kind of 1000D ones. And then I think with the pockets, although I'd probably slightly arrange some of the things here on the front, they're just minor things, they're quality of life things rather than things that would go, do you know what, I'm not going to buy or pick one of these up for any sort of reason. And I also like the simplicity of it. You've just got that one, although I know I mentioned there's a quick access pocket here. I only really use that for my mobile phone, but everything else can go into this one main front dump pocket, have it in there, slide it round when I need it. If not, go out and enjoy nature and, you know, enjoy nature. That's it at the end of the day, really, isn't it? So there you go, bringing it back round to the front. That is the Topo Designs Mountain Hydro Hip Pack. Now I do want to say a huge thank you to Topo Designs. They did send this to me. I do have a good relationship with them. I've made several pieces of content on some of the packs that they've sent to me, and they do allow me to freely express my opinions. And as I've mentioned with this, there are a few things that I would change about it, but hopefully that's conveyed the fact that this is you know, my own personal opinions rather than me being paid to review this not fairly, but favourably. But all in all, I think it is a great pack. Of course, I will leave some of their links below so that you can see more from Topo Designs. I'll leave some of my social media links below as well, so you can see more from me here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Moorlander, and this is Moorlander EDC. Out in the woods, talking about bags. Does life get any better? No, it doesn't. Fact. Sounded like fact. Ah. Shoot. David Brent. Shall I start with a shoot? I'll put this. Shall I? Fuck it. Let's do it. Stood there for 30 seconds like I usually do. 30 seconds because that's when the camera turns off if I talk bollocks for 30 seconds and haven't already hit record. Idiot! Remember to do things properly! Where was I? I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we're having